Hey guys, it's Stephen and Phil here, back with another football shirt review on FOOTY.COM. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are a fan of kits and all that kind of stuff, because today we've got a very, very interesting shirt. It's our first visit to the North East so far this season, is that right? I think it is.
So.
Yeah, and we've got Newcastle United's new kit from Puma. It's very intriguing, it's splitting fans right down the middle, but we're going to, as ever, offer our verdict on this latest kit from Puma. They've been hit and miss, I think, so far, Puma, I think. Actually, I think they've been mainly hit, haven't they?
I think on our list they've done quite well. But yeah, no, you're right, broadly speaking.
Broadly speaking, they've been alright. This one is very, very interesting, but as I said, don't forget to make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are a fan of kit culture and reviews and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to pass it over, as we always do at this point, to Phil, Mr. Phil Delves. Phil, what is your initial impressions on this kit? For what it's worth, there's very few pictures going around, which is strange for a kit that's meant to be a reference to a classic Newcastle kit. You think they show off a little bit more, but there's not much pictures going around. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, you hinted at the divisive nature of the show. You're absolutely right. And it's been really interesting today. I always enjoy reading fan reactions, and this one really has. I would say, at least from what it looks like for fans, it's in between kind of divisive and actually kind of dislike. I would say a lot of fans for a few reasons which we'll get into.
I think they've actually done themselves a big problem here by referencing a kit which if they hadn't mentioned it, they would have got a lot less stick. Now essentially, this is inspired, according to Newcastle and Puma, by the heroes of 1969. Now if you pull that kit up, which is right here now next to us, you can see why they're annoyed, because they've basically tried to play off the nostalgia of a very classic kit. Yeah. Not really done that great a job of actually replicating it. You feel like if you're going to really make that big a deal, and you've got a touch around the collar, you've got to go for it a little bit more, because it could have easily been so much more fan service than this.
I think you're exactly right. The fact that they reference a specific kit, so they didn't even just say sort of, sometimes you see here sort of inspired by kits of the 60s or 70s, and they've actually, as you said, named the year.
It's an iconic kit for the Newcastle fans.
It is. I believe it was the Intercities Fairs trophy, or certainly a trophy which we won't debate the merits of. I think it's a trophy nonetheless, and clearly, as you say, a key moment. It's 50 years, so good time to reference it. But the fact that they've, as you say, apart from the collar, which is really nice, that's basically the only clear detail. Other than that. That 1969 shirt looks quite different. It's got stripes on the sleeves. The stripes themselves are much thinner, much more like kind of standard Newcastle shirts. Yeah, so I think you're right. They've shot themselves in the foot a little bit. But I think if you ignore that, I think there are a lot of good things. Obviously, though, and we often talk about sponsors, unfortunately, this is a prime example of a sponsor that ruins the shirt.
There's nothing fun 88 about this sponsor, is there? Interestingly enough, as you can see now on the picture next to me, and I'll switch over quickly to another one, is the colour looks different of the sponsor. And some on the one it's up now, it looks a bit more offensive than the one of this coloured cheedy looking fella, where it looks softer and desaturated. It looks less offensive there than it does on the other one, but I'm going to presume it's actually more like the other one. This one's a kind of soft
picture. I think it is. Yeah, and this is a sponsor which it's been around for a couple of years for Newcastle fans, so you're probably sadly used to it. But what did make me think, though, was that last year we had a really good away shirt from Newcastle. One of my favourite shirts in the whole league. And that had a recoloured sponsor. It was in gold. It matched the design of the shirt. So clearly, sometimes sponsors like Chevrolet and United, they literally never change. Whereas actually, Fun 88 have done it before, so why they wouldn't do it again?
Here's a mock-up now. So what you see next to me on the screen is a fan mock-up from Concept Kits. Thank you, Concept Kits. They basically show what the sponsor would look like in black and white. It works perfectly fine. It does. It would work. It'd make the fans very happy. There'd be a lot of sentiment towards them. It's a shame that they haven't gone for that, because it fits into. Obviously, the kit's totally different as well. On this mock-up, they've changed everything about the kit in terms of the number of stripes and this kind of stuff. But we can see how the sponsor would work in terms of the colour scheme, and it would work.
The other thing which, if you're really eagle-eyed, you'll notice on the sponsor is that it's got the background of it, or the kind of the white element of the sponsor, is a different shade to the white of the stripes. And
that's why it looks cheap, isn't it?
It does, and there's nothing wrong with having sponsors that are sort of on top of the shirt. That kind of technique, if you like, is very common. It always has been. But it reminds me a lot of Juventus's kit, which they had a few, with the Jeep sponsor.
Where it's like
and the black of that didn't match the black.
That was more deliberate. So it almost got away with it. It was like it looked like a big piece of masking tape, didn't it?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. That actually had a kind of a slightly nostalgic quality.
Stylistic effect.
Exactly. This one just doesn't work.
It looks cheap. It looks like someone's got a stick and put it right over it. I hate how as well. Like it's Chinese, isn't it? Is it Mandarin?
I don't know, but
sorry, either way, how it indents into the black stripe. It drives me mad.
Indeed.
It doesn't. It's not even in the middle either. It goes over the middle and it comes more to one side of the black stripe than the other. But we've not really talked about the key thing yet of this kit, the centralised logos.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. And to me, I was really happy to see this. I know a lot of fans, again, aren't necessarily sold on it, but actually, to be fair, Newcastle have done this before a couple of times.
Was it like 99 or something, was it?
Yeah, so it's sort of on a 10-year cycle. About 10 years ago. And,
there's a picture of Andy Carroll.
Yeah, in the early Andy Carroll days. And, that kit wasn't too special, but I liked the centralised crest. And, of course, about 10 years before that, in the 90s, when Newcastle were actually very good, they did it again. So I think it's a nice recurring theme. Not many clubs do that these days, so it does stand out quite well.
Have to look at the crest as well. Gorgeous monochrome crest. That's very nice.
There was a lot of discussion as well to quickly talk about this, and this is getting into a bit of detail, but in terms of how that crest has been done in one colour, a lot of people pointing out that actually it would have been better to actually reverse the monochrome nature of it, if you like, so that actually
the horses are white and
exactly, and the black the seahorses, and the black stripes. Actually, the kind of what are the black stripes on the full colour crest have been flipped.
The shit.
But I think in general that I do like the aesthetics of it, and the thing is though, it does make the sponsor look even worse because they've taken the effort to do that. So. But you know what? Just looking at the kit again there, and you see the pictures of it again, ignoring the sponsor. I really like the thick stripes. I know a lot of fans. Again, it's not particularly Newcastle. I can see that. But to me, this is like the kind of a nice balance to say the Milan kit, and the Milan kit was nicer for a lot of reasons. But I think Puma have at least shown that they're able to do a couple of different things.
I'm normally a fan of centralised things. Something about it feels a little bit off. I think something about the arrangement just feels. I can't put my finger on it, but it doesn't quite look perfect.
Well, you were saying before it looks quite cluttered. I think that's a very fair comment because
there's a lot going on down there, isn't there?
There is, and because the sponsor isn't symmetrical,
it's not subtle in the slightest, is it?
Yeah, and they're quite tight, and I think in some ways, it does.
Put it this way: if Puma had any say of how the sponsor was going to look, there's no way they would design it like that. I think very much things have been moved around in a designer's eye there, and we. As much as we try to ignore the sponsors and judge the kit, they are an intrinsic part of what makes the kit good. And you've mentioned, and I've done it before, we've mentioned loads of times about how a kit and how even think of the classic Arsenal kits where you had Sega looking really cool or something, or the O2 thing. And these do play into a kit and they do affect our final score. So we have to consider that, unfortunately. We do. But also we have to consider the fact that there were some nice ideas there and it does feel a bit fresh. Right, so this is the bit where we get the kit rankings up here. As you can see, our latest edition was, what was it? It was yesterday. It was Galatasaray and we gave that 79. Before that, we had a controversial entry at 91 for PSV Eindhoven. And the highest Puma entry so far is it Palace?
It'll be Milan.
Oh, Milan, sorry.
So really strong.
That was a really strong. That's a great example of... stripes done really well, by the way, in a classy retro style. I've got to the point now where I'm trying to guess. Do you know your score yet?
Yeah, really tricky one, because I guess the question with this is how much does a bad sponsor affect a shirt? Because I think
you've got to judge it fairly the way you judge everything else.
You do, and I think looking at this, if I had to kind of compare it in terms of bad sponsors, there's a lot of pretty safe sponsors on the list. I think there's very few with great sponsors, but equally very few with bad sponsors. Probably the first one on that list. I mean, looking at that, honestly, you'd have to go...
United.
Probably United. I think that's the best comparison in terms of a bad sponsor. However, I do much prefer the shirt.
I'm going to try and rationalise against your previous rankings. The sponsors are probably worse than the Sheffield one, I would argue, maybe, the sponsor.
I think, and I think with this one...
The kit is nicer, though.
The kit is much nicer, and... If it wasn't for the sponsor, I think this is in the 80s. I'm going to say that now.
Oh, so I was about to guess, actually.
But it's not going to... For me...
Do you know what I was going to guess? I was going to guess 81, but okay. I'm going to say now you said that, 77.
Well, that's exactly it. 77. There was the gap. But no, I think it feels like a whole. When I look at this...
I think that's fair, actually.
It's interesting because I think already in this list you start to see... at least from my perspective, things that I like. And even the Ajax away shirt, which is a template... At the end of the day, the colours were great.
Symmetry is important, isn't it? Sometimes?
And just the design of it, even if it's a template, it can be better than a bespoke shirt. So 77, I think, it's still a good score. And honestly, without the sponsor, or with a better sponsor,
we also have to consider as well, like, if it's gone for the nostalgia thing, it hasn't hit with the fans in the way they wanted to. So that also takes some points as well, because they could have easily got there. But fan service is an important thing, I think, in general, because these are the people who spend all their money, the thousands of pounds supporting these clubs, and they have to be, by and large, happy with things. It has to, especially if you're going to play in the heartstrings like that. You can't be cheap, and you have to kind of get it right. And I don't think they fully got it right, unfortunately.
You're really right. Fans aren't stupid, and I think, to be honest, it's only because of the way that brands often promote their shirts, and they talk about, colours being inspired by street signs that we talked about and things like this. I think it's wearing a bit thin. So. But I will say that actually Puma they've shown a lot of variety, and that's a really good thing. Unlike some brands where kits all look the same. But obviously,
this week, speaking of Puma, we're going to do some City rumours, City rumours. We'll probably do that on Friday, is my guess. So make sure you subscribe. If you're a Manchester City fan, it's coming. We're not going to give some scores because they're only rumours. We're not going to do that yet. We're going to save that to the actual press releases. So we see Aguero looking magnificent, no doubt, in the home shirt. So we'll judge it when we see it properly. We're going to do that. But anyway, let us know what you make of this Newcastle score. It could have been great, couldn't it?
It could have been
so close, and that sometimes it's disappointing because of what it could have been, I reckon. Let us know what you make of this shirt in the comments below, and let us know if you agree with the score and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to FOOTY.COM. Like this video, comment, all that kind of stuff. And Phil and I will see you very soon.